Hello, Richard here. Now, because of holidays and whatnot, this week's Smith and Sniff is a clip show, and it's called Origins because it gathers together some of the first times we mentioned some things that went on to become running gags on the show. So we've got On That Side of Things, No Name for Suspension Mountain Bike Guy, Prelude Man, and so on. You probably have heard these before, but we thought sometimes it's nice to enjoy things again when they're not as fresh, like finding some cold sausages in the fridge. We'll be back to normal service very soon, but in the meantime, this. Cheers, mate. Thanks, mate. Bye.
Do you know what? I realised there's a guy who does a lot of auto electrician work for me who's lovely, and I'm not going to tell you his name, but he's in my phone as the non-stop talker, and he's really lovely. But I remembered that although his electrician skills in cars are unrivaled, he is brilliant and very logical. He adds the term "on that side of things" to the end of every sentence. and after about half an hour, it gets to the point where I have to go away and have a walk on my own. So if you say "on that side of things" again.
But sometimes, surely that must make little to no sense in the context of, I don't know, yeah, my brother's just bought a Vauxhall Insignia on that side of things.
Yeah, no, but that's exactly what happens.
On that side of the family.
Yes, you can manipulate it however way you like. It still sort of works.
Yeah, I've just been walking down the canal, not on the north bank, you know, the other bank with the Rising Sun pub on it. That's where I went, on that side of things.
Yeah,
sometimes it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, so I've got a customer's MOT and the aircon needs replacing, so I've got to do that this afternoon on that side of things. And you go, well, ordinarily you would go, that doesn't work, but it seems to conversationally work.
Yeah.
On that side of things, yeah. So
Very
anyway.
Sorry to hear about the passing of your grandmother on that side of things.
Can't talk about family death and just tack on silly like sentences at the end on that side of things. No, you can't do that.
It's like, didn't I mention a few months ago the bloke who came to fix my guttering, not a euphemism, on that side of things, but the bloke who came to fix a busted gutter that I had kept saying, do you know what I mean, after everything.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It was the same thing. I eventually had to go, sorry, mate, I've got to go inside and just sit in a dark room for a little bit. Because it became... I was going, yes, I do know what you mean. I mean, if he's going, yeah, you want a beveled spill trunnion on that, do you know what I mean? I'd be like, no, actually, I don't know what you mean. Don't know what that is. Sorry.
Got no idea. Sorry, mate.
To me. But he went, yeah... so the other problem is there are some leaves up there. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I know what leaves are. Yeah.
There's if that makes sense is another one that gets tacked on the end.
Yes.
But because it's tacked onto every sentence. Just like what you just said, there are very obvious things that most adults in the world would understand. So, like, I'm going to clock off at 2. I've got to go into town to get some cable, and then I'll be straight back. All right, if that makes sense. We go. Of course, it makes sense. I mean, like, what part of it is really complex? I don't understand.
I don't know whether you realised, but when you were telling me the bit about going into town, you just started speaking in Swahili. So, no, it doesn't make any sense to me at all. A contribution on the subject of deceased spec cars from a chap called Martin L, who is one of our patrons, and he put this on Patreon last week in reference to when we were looking at some of our other listeners' deceased spec cars, and there was that Xantia with a lot of hand scum on the interior of the photos. Martin wrote on the Patreon, finding hand scum in a car is one thing, but I've encountered something worse. In 2010, I bought a dead man's 1997 Ford Escort Gear X for £500.
It's It's just so
sort of
perfect.
feel like people could read these out over a backing track. You know, like, do you remember that song Wear Sunscreen? That was Baz Luhrmann.
Oh, yeah. Should we do our own version?
Ladies and gentlemen of the class of 99. Wear sunscreen. Well, in
Buy
2010, I
dead
bought a
people's
Dead Man's
cars.
1997. Anyway, he bought a Ford Escort Gear X. Fancy, for £500. Martin goes on to say, dynamically, it was complete cowpat, as you'd expect, but it was in amazing condition for a 13-year-old Ford Escort. The air conditioning worked a treat. It had new tyres and a 12-month MOT. I don't think I could have found cheaper motoring at the time.
You couldn't.
One oddity was that its 6-disc multi-changer under the passenger seats, brackets, remember when that was a thing?
I do.
Contained 2 CDs, and both of them were Sade's Diamond Life album. I guess he really
Double
liked
Sade. Double Sade.
I don't... What?
Double Sade. I don't get it. I mean,
don't.
It doesn't matter that I don't get it. It's brilliant. So hang on. He either forgot that he'd bought it, or did he think it was a different music album by Sade, and he thought, I'll buy the other one. And it wasn't the other one. It was the same one.
Is it possible that she reissued it, and this guy went, I like Sade so much, I'm going to buy the reissue and just pop that in the old changer as well?
Yeah.
Because it's been remastered.
Unless one of them was signed, perhaps. Oh, I love that. I love that about it.
But then why would you'd keep that for best, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you would keep that for best. Yeah.
Maybe. I
quite like, sort of late night driving, I could put a bit of Sade on.
Poor old Sade gets sort of remembered for Smooth Operator, doesn't she, basically? And actually
she's a bit cabaret.
Her canon is much broader than that, and she's got a really, really amazing voice. But as the former owner of this Escort would attest, I liked it so much I bought it twice. That's
I'm searching for reasons.
I'm just going to read this again because it's so brilliant. The one odyssey was its 6-disc multi-changer under the passenger seat contained 2 CDs, and both of them were Sade's Diamond Life album. But that's not the reason that Martin has written this. He says, after owning the car for a few months, I was taking a friend to hockey practice, and he couldn't believe what an amazing purchase it was for £500. He then asked what the stuff above my head was. Didn't know what he was talking about, so I looked up. Oh, sweet Jesus. The headlining directly above the driver's seat had that greasy layer of matted, knotted hair baked into the headlining and sort of smeared from the driver's side door to just above the driver's head. I retched hard several times. Clearly, the dead man who had once loved both Escorts and Sade was quite a tall man with some mobility issues. Every time he got in the car, he must have smeared his large ginger head over the headlining, leaving a trail of slimy ginger hair, and I hadn't noticed it until my friend had pointed it out. If you didn't know better, you'd have sworn someone had beaten a fox to death.
Oh, God.
Needless to say, after at least half an hour of intense scrubbing and different chemicals, I did manage to get it all gone. I got rid of the car after about 6 months, because every time I drove it, I thought about the hair smear.
Oh, hair smear. Do you know what I would have done in that, just as a finale on the detailing cleansing front? I would have definitely decanted some Brute into one of those weed sprayers, and I would have just soaked the whole headlining in it, and then left the doors open for a couple of hours just to really get it going. That would have been, oh my God, what an amazing story. Thank you for that.
Martin, that is, we get a lot of great emails and messages and things, but that
was up there.
Stands out as an absolute corker, both for the Sade and the use of the expression hair smear.
You got me bloody thinking of Sade now. Sade.
You got me thinking about Sade.
What does Sade drive now?
Oh, do you know what?
What does Sade drive?
She's very sophisticated, isn't she?
She is. And smooth.
Hang on.
But it would have to be something that was a little that had exotic colours. She's not a silver or grey car girl.
No.
She's just not. She'd want a bit of colour.
Do you know what Sade's real first name is?
Debbie.
Helen.
Is it? Is her surname Sade?
No, it's Adu. Oh. So net worth. I mean, this is all Wikipedia, so let's not assume
that's not fact-rich. You're going against journalistic principles.
According to Wikipedia, asterisk, her net worth as of 2015 was 50 million quid.
Yeah, well, her albums have sold multi-platinum for years because it's the candlelit potential penetration music.
Well, you see, I thought what used to be referred to as dinner party music, isn't it? So it's sort of nice and soft and sophisticated for the background of candles going and, oh, you must give me this recipe.
I do like a couple of her songs.
Yeah, I feel like I might, when we finish this, I might go and listen to some Sade, but not Smooth Operator, just get, remind myself.
Ordinary Love's a good one.
Yeah, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a drum machine.
It's got a very sort of haunting kind of minor key kind of thing, hasn't it?
It has. It has.
There's a sadness to it. So I wanted to look this up because there was something that I thought I knew, and it turns out I was right. She was born in Nigeria, but she was brought up in Essex.
Yes.
And I think this is important because it might inform what car she drives. So here's what we know about Sade.
Does she live in Essex now?
I'm going to try and find out.
I don't think she does. I would like to say she lives in Tobago now.
She's very rich.
Yeah,
I think she probably has houses all over the shop.
Yeah.
Would be my... I'm going to... oh, hey, look. Well, again, asterisk, it's Wikipedia. In 2005, Sade moved to the Gloucestershire countryside, where she bought a run-down cottage to renovate.
What?
Sade rarely grants interviews.
Oh,
weird
God.
that they've lumped that together in the same paragraph. But
I bet she does an interview if Screwfix like, listen, we'll give you all the stuff you need for your cottage renovation. Can we just get a 16-second clip of that you collecting your cladding? Could you do that? I'd be like, what?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, listen, you'll get full staff discount on all of this, all of these breeze blocks and everything. If you just say, "Hi, I'm Sade, and I love Howdens," and
they're a very hashtag smooth operator. Yes, our customer service is. Oh, Sade, what are you doing? I just needed. It's fine.
Right, I'm going to do this now.
They're offering 1,600 quid's worth of gear, so why not?
Sometimes when you type question into Google, you start to type something, but then it prompts you as if it thinks it knows what you want. And often it'll be something where it's mind-bogglingly idiotic, like, can you eat pebbles or something? And you go, who's asking this, for fuck's sake? But I'm now going to type into Google, where does Sade live? And it says, it comes back with the Gloucestershire line.
It's interesting that she lives in Gloucestershire. I had her as a Paradise Island girl, but you know what? She's probably got a... She's going to have a holiday home with a moke somewhere, isn't she?
Definitely.
Or a Mahari.
Yeah.
Is she a Mahari girl? Or is she neither? Is she Suzuki Vitara?
Well, because I was going to say she might be Suzuki SJ.
Yeah, I mean, she might have She might have a Vitara that's been with her for some time, and she's just retired it out there, and it's got... it's got the white vinyl top.
Yeah, I'm going to say, she's got a really low mileage.
One day we're going to find true facts about these people.
Yeah.
Rather than just pure speculation.
If you're listening and you know Sade, or you are Sade,
yes,
get in touch. We don't want to do an interview, because we know that she doesn't do interviews. No. We just want to know what she drives, what she maybe did drive. See, I can't help thinking that in the 80s she might have had an XJS convertible.
No. It's too old.
Do you think not?
No, it's too old school for her. She would have sooner had a Mercedes R129 SL.
Oh, yeah.
She would have. I bet she had one of those in a very aquamarine colour. Ooh, suits her.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, because you're right. She definitely wouldn't have a boring sort of like white or silver or black one. She would have.
No, it would have to be aquatic colours.
A jazzy but tasteful colour.
Yeah.
Please,
Sade.
I'm now scrolling through a GQ interview with her, which is just... There's all this stuff. There's about how she got her name. Sade is an abbreviation of her real Nigerian name, and there's a load of stuff about how many records she's sold, and she's 62.
Oh, my God.
She looks amazing.
She looks about 42, right?
Yeah.
I know, it's amazing. Just like Grace Jones. Grace Jones doesn't look... She stopped ageing in her mid-40s.
Right, well, I've scrolled all the way through this Sade article now. Here we go. Well, right at the bottom, it says...
I drive a Kia Carens. The end. Yeah.
No, sorry, not a Karen. It's that other one. I can never remember the name of it. Wenger, that's it.
Wenger. Well, hang on a minute. Could we drive the scenic route to Gloucestershire, and could we record a podcast from Sade's studio back garden or whatever it is? That would be amazing.
This kind of relies on the cooperation of Sade, doesn't it? But
yeah,
let's definitely stick it on the list.
Yeah, I mean, look, listen. We could say to it, look, Smith and Sniff is in its own department category. It's regularly UK's most listened to automotive podcast.
What if she went, yeah, I know,
and she'll just look at you and go, I've sold 50 million albums.
Yeah, I don't need this. I absolutely do not need this.
I appreciate your politeness, but I'm sorry, I just don't care.
Well, anyway, so yeah, it's a shame you couldn't make it to Radwood. It was really nice, and thank you to the Smith and Sniff listeners who came up and said hi. Also, there was at least one guy on YouTube in the comments after the last show said, "Oh, I saw you at Radwood, but I didn't want to come up and say hi because I didn't know what to say." And I was a bit like, "I don't bite. Just come up and say anything."
I think you should. Random. I think you should develop a bit of a notoriety like Elton John when he's a little bit irritated. So you you quietly snap and fizz at people.
But yes, I thought Radwood was a sweet event. Lots of lovely cars. That's the one thing I missed was I was just wandering about on my own, and then I saw a couple of people I know, and then I was just chatting to some people who came over to say hi, but. What I missed was I realised, particularly with eclectic car shows, it's great to have a mate that you can just wander about the place with, because sometimes I found myself going, bloody hell, look at that. And then I just wanted to talk to somebody and go, is that one of the... I can't... Look, it's got the original wheel trims on. And there was a short of talking to myself.
Yeah, so what you're saying is you wished I was there, but you wished I was in a sort of a slightly more unhinged mood. So maybe I was flying around on an 80s Ninja scooter drinking Strongbow Dark Fruit. And I can't maintain eye contact with anything because I'm so off it.
I think... maybe if you were just on a sort of non-branded mountain bike, constantly doing wheelies about the place in a threatening way,
like with the full suspension that's just absolutely knackered, so it's just boinging and bonging.
Yeah. The really noisy chain because you haven't oiled it ever.
Oh, an unoiled chain, it's just sinful.
It made me laugh. That guy that you two were telling me about that you saw. Where was this that you saw him?
Well, we finished a shoot for the Late Break Show a little bit late, a couple of days ago, and we'd booked ourselves in for dinner at a pub nearby just because it's been a long week of filming, and it's a pub right next to where a load of narrowboats are moored up, like a little marina, I guess. And it was dark. It was just gone dark. Just got dark, and I was with Phil, the videographer, who works a lot on the show, and we just saw out of nowhere this guy coming flying down, and it was a gravel path, so a little bit of understeer at every turn, on a full suspension but no name bike. So one of those bikes that usually probably gets pulled out of a canal or left in a town centre for 3 years, and somebody nicks the front wheel and nobody ever comes back for it. It's one of them. Yeah. And he had no lights on, and also he was topless, and it wasn't even that warm. And it's and he had either a cigarette or something or a vape pack in his hand, so he didn't have both hands fully on the handlebars, which made me think he's going to have a huge gravel-based tank slapper. And as I was sort of like, oh my god, and he also looked like Mackenzie Crook, so very gaunt, and a little bit, like the eyes were wild. But he disappeared off past us and then went down and got onto a narrowboat, and I thought, oh yeah, he's a narrowboat guy. He's a narrowboat. But there's I don't mean this against narrowboat people, because I know some narrowboat people and they're cool. However, don't you think every small town has a bloke like that who's on a no-name mountain bike with full suspension that is a bit squeaky and perhaps not very good, and always riding around like with a massive amount of urgency, but probably no urgency at all.
Yes, sort of aggressively fast riding, but
aggressively fast riding. It usually goes onto the pavement in front of, like, you know, mums and kids and stuff for no reason. Might be talking to himself. He's a little bit wild.
Well, he might be on the phone. That would be, but that's the thing. I say aggressively fast, but not hunched over like a Tour de France rider. He's actually very casual atop the bike, and yet his speed is aggressive because he's carrying too much speed in crowded environments. But he might be riding non-handed at high speed.
Yeah, and he might have.
Phone.
He might have some single-use plastic bag hanging on one handlebar, which is just loaded with
like
Copperberg.
a bag of cans.
It's loaded with Copperberg. And the problem is with that, as you know, when you've ridden a bike, if one side of the bars is weighted, the whole thing handles very differently, especially on loose terrain.
Yeah.
Which might be why he becomes an accomplished wheelie artist, because then the front is never on the ground, so the cans can dangle away. It's absolutely fine.
But you're right. I think every town has this guy, Mackenzie crook-faced, shirtless, off-brand mountain bike riding
army surplus
guy.
trousers.
Army surplus trousers. Then, as it gets colder, he has got to stop riding about shirtless. That's the spring, summer, early autumn look. But then in the winter, these guys have always got a certain type of coat, I think. Sort of army surplus. Maybe a bomber jacket, actually.
Oh, yeah.
But I think it's more than that. It's like a sort of longer coat with big pockets.
Well, he might have gone to the charity shop and found a really decent Technics or Kenwood jacket. We have talked about those on previous podcasts. He might have dusted off basically a Radwood Legend jacket. I mean, if you can find one. Maybe 2023 for me is the year of the Technics jacket. I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think? Maybe should you get a Kenwood and I'll get a Technics, or are you going to go Pioneer?
I just question my brand loyalties here and think I think there's a Pioneer stereo in my Land Rover, so I'll go Pioneer just for that.
Yeah, and I've always been a Pioneer head unit guy. Hi, I'm Pioneer head unit guy.
Head unit guy. So now the other thing about the crook-faced man on his off-brand mountain bike is, I mean, he appears to have no discernible way of earning a living, but
no,
I think maybe there may be the sort of the vending of certain illegal things that
he might do a bit of small-time dabbling. Small-time dabbling.
Some people in town know him as like Dave Vibes or something like that. He's got multiple nicknames which might allude to some of the things that he does.
Oh, he'd be like Fuzzy or Zazzy, wouldn't he?
Zaz, and you go, well, that's not short for anything. Why is he called that? I don't know. Just is.
And then, he would be.
If you were younger, one day you would go to a house party in the town, and it's like a friend of a friend. And you're in the pub, and someone went, "Hey, there's a party going on. You know, Steve."
Oh, I love those.
Oh, Steve. Which Steve? You know, Steve, tall Steve. Oh, right. Yeah, he's having a party. Do you want to go? Yeah, come on, go get some cans, and we'll go to that. You go to that, and he's there. Scrawny mountain bike guy is there, but you don't know why or who he knows, but he's there. And then one day, you're in like a co-op or something.
Yeah.
And he's actually working there, or is he? You're not sure. Or you go into a pub, and he's behind the bar, but it's not clear if he's working or he just knows someone.
Yeah, he won't be working there. He would have painted the storeroom that afternoon, and they've just let him stay on.
Oh, cash in hand.
Yeah, he's that guy.
Yeah,
he's small town cash in hand guy.
He's very much cash economy.
Yeah. You know, if you need apples picking at the orchard, he'll do it. If you need some hedging clearing, Zazzy will do it.
Yeah,
Zazzy,
and he's got, I suppose, he lives on a canal boat. I mean, I don't know how much that would cost relative to living in a house. I assume sort of less, but I don't know. It's not his boat. Is he renting it, maybe?
Don't think anything's cheap anywhere.
No.
Not even a static caravan's cheap right now.
But he doesn't need a car because he lives in a medium-sized town and he's got his high-speed mountain bike. That's how he gets around. So where did you say this was that you saw this guy?
This was in Eton-Soken.
What?
Eton-Soken in Cambridgeshire.
That's a real place.
Yeah, it is.
Eton-Soken?
Eton-Soken, yeah. Eaton
That sounds incredibly made up.
No, it's not. It's not made up. I'm just double checking that you say it's called.
But that is it. How big is Eton?
It's near St Neots.
Sneerts?
Sneerts. Yeah, Eton Socon.
Oh, okay.
It is.
I've just found it. Oh, so SOCON, Eton Socon.
Yeah. Eton Socon.
Eton Socon.
He could easily be. It could be a NASCAR driver.
Yes, Eton Socon. There's a lovely sort of high drone shot or something of the town. So it is. It's definitely a sort of fair-sized town.
Yeah, it's that kind of town where there'd be a no-name full suspension bike guy riding around doing something that you don't know about. That's exactly.
No-name full suspension bike guy. The superhero you didn't know you needed because you don't, unless you want to buy marijuana.
Well, he only ever, if he ever was going to peddle naughty stuff, it would only ever be weed. It wouldn't be anything harder, I don't
think.
Maybe every Christmas he'll have a cheeky E, but that's it, really. I just don't.
Maybe he's a bit of an old hippie, and he sort of sells those drugs that not many people are interested in anymore, like acid and stuff. Which, as far as I'm aware, I don't know. Maybe people are into acid still.
Well, he's got some really lame hydroponics going on on his barge. You know, like he's putting all his effort into it, but actually he hasn't worked out that the best yield he'll get will earn him like £8 a week. Yeah, it's just not quite worth it.
In the meantime, the barge is suffocatingly hot and humid inside. That's why he's wearing no shirt.
Oh yeah, that's why he's
too hot at home.
Yeah,
Of course, the benefit of Eton Socon is that it's in Cambridgeshire, so it's very flat, so he can achieve effortlessly high speeds while riding with no hands.
Oh, he's one of the very few people in the world, I think, who can do a 21st gear wheelie. There's not many around. And if you remember back to when you might have been younger, listeners, if you've ever tried to sort of perfect the wheelie of a bike, it's not easy to do more than not easy to do more than say 4 cranks of the pedal, right?
No.
But there was always someone, and I had a couple of mates who were very capable, who could slap it into 18th. At the time there wasn't 24 gears. They could put it into 18th and they could hold a wheelie for the length of a street, and you were properly cranking away. When I say cranking, I don't mean the American term, I mean the innocent British term.
That's the thing. If you are, as this guy will be, a consummate wheelie expert, it's that just effortlessly doing the whole length of the street on the back wheel. The front wheel is canted over a bit.
Yes.
Sort of almost lying limp and useless in the air. Hands off the handlebars and just possibly smoking a cigarette or making a phone call. It's just that easy for him.
He was probably rolling a cigarette.
Yes.
He was rolling. He had a little pouch of Golden Virginia going on, or a Cutter's Choice, I think was the... I don't know if there's... I'd love it if the listeners could write in and say what kind of rolling tobacco this guy might have had. I think Cutter's Choice I'm going to go with. But he's that guy.
He's that guy. And every town, I think every medium-sized town's got one.
Yeah.
Have we talked on the podcast about my favourite ever bit from old Top Gear, 80s Top Gear, where William Woolard does a closing piece to camera that is, on close inspection, absolute bollocks. And it's a show from 1983, and when in more recent times, Top Gear, some people would go, why don't you just do cars, just talk about cars, do cars properly. No one in this show drives a single car. However, William Woolard bangs a nail through a battery.
What?
Sue Baker, God rest her soul, tests the new Ford Orion entirely from the back seat. It's mind-bogglingly strange, like a fever dream. And at the end, they're at, I think, the NEC, at some trade show, which is where Woolard's been anchoring the whole thing from.
I love an NEC trade show.
And he's standing outside, and the only thing I can think is that he thinks his bit's done, and he's gone to the bar.
Yeah.
And he's a couple of pints down, he's just taken the top off a third one. And someone goes, Bill, we haven't done a closing piece to camera, you've not done your good night drive safely. Look after that for us, will you? And he goes outside and he does this piece to camera, which is incredible. And
I bet you've memorised it.
I have. Well, I transcribed it and we had it printed out and pinned on the wall of the Grand Tour office.
Really?
To cheer us up when we're feeling down. He goes, that's another show done over, as it were. And immediately you go, done over? It's a bit strange. As it were, that's just no. You see, if you wrote it down as a script, you'd go, well, now there's already some superfluous words in there. I think we can lose as it were. But no. And then he goes, next week we're heavily into second-hand cars. Heavily into?
It sounds like a sort of naughty drug habit.
Well, yeah, or I've got a crush on them.
Yeah.
It's sort of like teenagers go, oh, she's heavily into him. Well, I might have done. Back in my day, I was covered in blue Stratos.
She's heavily into you, she is.
But it gets better. Next week, we're heavily into second-hand cars, basically in Nottingham.
It's so true.
It takes a while to pick the bones out of that one. Basically in Nottingham. Does that mean, like, mostly in Nottingham?
What,
I can't.
what on earth?
It's, I mean...
In the Vale of Beaver?
And then... It's
a place.
The second pint of Bass really starts to kick in. Because he's done basically in Nottingham, which is quite confusing in construction. But then he goes, lots of good advice there for you to pick up if you want to. So he's becoming quite aggressive now with the drink. And this is, in many ways, this scrambles the script editor in me more than anything else, which is not a major transgression, but he just goes, until then, see you then. Good night. And go,
I knew
there's two thens there, William. There's two thens. You should probably lose one of the thens in some way or other.
He refused to do a second take.
Well, this is the thing.
He absolutely refused.
So, I think he's gone, no, I'm sorry, someone's guarding my pint and I've got a bag of nuts up in the bar. I'm no way doing it again. But also, they used to shoot it on film, so probably the cameraman's going, who may have also had a couple of pints of Bass, because they used to in those days.
Yeah.
It's probably gone, I've run out of film. I can't, that's it, we're out of film. So that's it, it's got. So they take it back to the edit and they've gone, and how was this closing piece to cut? Oh, it was total horseshit, basically in Nottingham. But it's too late now. It's on YouTube. I'll put a link up in
Nottingham.
Basically in Nottingham. Is now I can't hear the name of the city of Nottingham.
Can I ask you to do an outro of this event? Like William Willard back in 83.
Basically, what were we talking about before we got distracted?
I've told you before, and probably in a previous podcast, where Jason Plato on Fifth Gear, we were doing a piece to camera either side of a car, and he'd been waiting around so long and the weather was miserable, and he'd started smoking a cigarette, just lit it, like this. And then the director went, right, we've got to do this because time's cracking on, and Jason's like, oh fuck, yeah. And he took an enormous drag, enormous, and then went, "Hi, welcome. We're going to be testing whether or not the our bath is up to much." And this is just billowing, just a chimney. But meanwhile, the back end here is smoking as well because he's got it hidden right behind his shirt like that and walking in a very strange way. And I say to Jason, they can't use that. That's unusable material. He went, well, we're not doing it again. Basically, did a Woolard.
Yeah, I learned that from the best.
Woolard told me. I'm out now.
Tell them they've got what they need.
Yeah, he wouldn't put his cigarette down.
Well, if you ever watched the episode of the Grand Tour where they went to, Italy in Grand Touring cars, James Ney had a Rolls Royce. Dawn. Is that the Cabrio? Dawn.
Yeah, the Dawn is the.
So
I'm checking it. It is the Dawn, isn't it?
The Dawn, the Cabrio,
yeah,
big
Dawn,
Cabrio.
Dawn. We should know this shit.
We should know this shit, shouldn't we?
We don't. Dawn. See, Dawn. I used to work with a Dawn in Safeway.
Yeah.
She was the manager of the cafeteria. So all I ever think about when I see a Rolls Dawn is Dawn.
Dawn
from
have a donut
Safeway
place,
cafeteria.
Yeah. So there's a piece to camera in the car. I couldn't tell you where. Because they were doing a long road trip, and the cameras are usually rolling, but they're not sort of supposed to be just chatting endlessly.
No.
But James absent-mindedly lit a cigarette, and then sort of something was happening, and James was carrying on, and on the walkie-talkie going, okay, yeah, oh God, Hammond's here. And then it was only when we watched the footage back, we went, he's smoking a fag. And he can't be smoking a fag because that's not allowed. No. So at great expense, the cigarette was digitally removed.
What? Seriously?
It was
CGI
painted
cig.
out, as they say in telly. Yeah, the cigarette was painted out, and I mean, go back and look and see if you can spot where there's because you probably see it because there'll be smoke coming out of his fingers like that. But
It just looks like strange gang signs with no cigarette in.
but yeah, we went, James, what were you doing? And he was like, oh, it's all right, I just completely forgot.
I'd love it if the influencers were to buy veteran cars.
Just keep buying vintage.
Hi guys, I've bought my 1908 whatever it is.
Should I have my Napier wrapped? What?
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, there's not much bodywork to it, if I'm honest. So knock yourself out.
Yes,
You've got a roll of wrapping
I was
paper.
thinking of changing the tiller steer system.
I'm thinking of having. I'm having the cross the wire wheels on my Fraser Nash chromed. Oh, actually, they already are. They are chromed.
What about
already.
no? I'm having wooden spoked ones. I'm thinking of upgrading to metal spokes. What do you think? What do you think? I mean, it'd be brilliant. Imagine London to Brighton is turned into the Gumball 3000.
Man. What about? I just realised
So you've got loads of girls dancing, strobe lights at the start, a little bit of gangster rap.
Well, no, but what if they've
Jay-Z's
gone full?
there.
They've all gone like sort of like steampunk, but kind of they've all gone like Edwardian cosplay. So they're all, instead of wearing like, what do influencers wear? They all seem to wear like tracky bottoms and things, don't they?
Yeah, but there'll be a mashup.
Well,
Like
they dress quite sharp.
sort of industrial revolution clothing.
Yeah, they're all wearing those big floppy like Peaky Blinders hats and in fact, if they're going to go really authentic, they're no longer talking into their phone. They've got a man with a camera and one of those powder flashes that takes ages to
Powder flash.
or like a courtroom artist who just follows around and does like a series of sketches of what they're doing, and then they put it together like a flip book.
I'd absolutely love it if supercar influencers, there was some sort of governmental ban. It was like, for the next year, you're not allowed to video any modern supercars.
Only by pre-1908.
Okay, so and you've got to learn. I think it will become huge entertainment.
I think it might. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of all those really old, the bygone era when sort of the gold rush of the car industry, when there were loads of small car companies.
It's mental. For something I was writing, I had reason to look up defunct British car manufacturers.
Yeah, and
there's just a list on Wikipedia. There's dozens. Oh my god! And some of them you've never heard of at all. They're just like, you go, they must have made 4 cars, and some of them, as you know, they were quite successful until 1911 when their factory burned down.
Yeah.
Or something.
And here we have the 1904 Pricktees and Carnaby.
There are some quite funny names.
Go on, look at one. There was Something and Onions. I know the one that was.
Yes.
Which is the one that's Something and Onions?
Beef and onions.
No, it's just.
Hang on. Keep
it's a
talking.
flavour of crisp.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
not that.
sorry.
Beef and onions.
It might be. It's not. I mean, yes, okay, it's not.
Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I've got this really awful kind of motorised wheelchair type thing with tiller steer.
Look at this.
Mahogany wheels.
So, well, just at a random, Albany. From 1903 to 1905 they existed, and for some reason in brackets after it says steam. Hi guys. So, thinking of having it converted to run on coal instead of wood, what do you think? Don't forget to smash that like telegram that you have to send me, because I can't do modern shit anymore.
Hi guys, thanks ever so much to everyone who's flown a pigeon to me with a message in it. They all landed at the house, and I've got lots of really well trained pigeons. I'll send them back as soon as I can.
We just had a telegram come through. Let's see what it says. Like, stop. Oh well, that's good. I found your onions, people. Mince and onions. All Days and Onions.
All Days and Onions. See, I've seen an All Days and Onions.
Have
car.
you? They lasted from 1898 until 1918.
See, I've seen an All Days and Onions, and I thought, what a cracking name for a car company. And you know what? You know when these old car company names get bought up and resurrected?
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm going to use the heritage of All Days and Onions.
Well,
but what I'm going to do is turn it into a body-kitted Porsche Cayenne with the batteries, with the badges removed.
Disrespect there.
And you go, hang on a minute, is that a Cayenne? No.
No, it's
No,
not.
it's not. It's an All Days and Onions. I started doing that impression of my old housemate at university. As I was getting into the car this morning, I did it to myself whilst I was loading the gear in to come and see you. Honestly. Absolute seminal moment.
This is your housemate who used to get so high in his room that he couldn't come downstairs and would have to ring the house.
This was the early days of mobile phones, as in affordable mobile phones for the common man. And he basically rinsed his entire student loan on buying a Nokia and a contract. And he phoned the landline and said, "Johnny, is that you?" I went, "Yeah." "What's up? Is that you, Harpal?" "Yeah." "Aren't you in your room?" "Yeah." And he goes, "But that's just there." "Yeah." "Listen, can you do us like a really sweet favour, yeah?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, I mean, what are we talking about?" "Listen, all I want, yeah, go in the kitchen, yeah, get me a sweet glass of water, yeah, and bring it up and leave it outside my door." And he said it with a really like hoarse voice, like, "I'm telling you now, didn't get back till like 6, yeah. Been in Hammersmith club night, yeah. The whole place was on fire, yeah. It was amazing. But like, I'm really feeling it now. I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna like have a bit more of a sleep, and then I'm gonna come down and maybe have like potato waffle or something."
What time was it?
What time? Oh, it was like Sunday at about 4 p.m. It was really late. I mean, we were students. I get it. Oh, but I mean, I didn't even know he was in. I thought he was still out.
Rang the landline in the house that he's in.
Well, because the thing is normally we would know he was in because we would hear Mickey Finn. Mickey Finn would just be played, and you just hear that muffle because it's like 2 rooms away. Come on! We go, "Oh yeah, he's in. He's upstairs." All we'd see is abandoned Rockport trainers by the front door, which he'd always make a point of telling me how much they were. "See those, yeah? £120 they were, yeah." They go, guys, I'm going out tonight, yeah. I'm going back out to Bagley's and getting picked up by Taz. So if I'm in the shower, yeah, and the door goes, that'll be Taz. Taz has got his BM convertible outside, yeah. 323, fucking the shit, yeah. He's going to pull up. We're going to go to Bagley's in the Beamer, and it was Taz. Yeah, Taz had the BM, and it was an E36 convertible, and it would have been quite new thinking about it.
Yeah.
This was 1997.
Yeah, well,
wasn't it?
it would have been contemporary.
Yeah, and he was a student. And I'm like, what? In a turquoise E36, pretty much new convertible? Yeah. What's Taz doing then with his... Taz was a good lad, though. He used to sometimes sleep on the sofa. And it was so good. It was so good. And when he came home and he was drunk, everything he'd say everything at 3 times the speed. It would be brilliant.
Was this the guy whose cousin had a Prelude?
Yes, 2.2. And he'd love that was his benchmark for performance cars. It would be the 2.2 Prelude.
Prelude.
And he'd love it. He'd sometimes call it the Lude. Yeah, it was great. I got my mate, yeah, he's got the Prelude, got a 100 Prelude 2.2, yeah, the fucking thing flies, yeah, like VTEC goes flying, yeah, like nothing can beat it. Nothing can beat it, yeah.
Nothing.
We all get in it, yeah, and I'm stoned and I'm fucked and the thing's flying, yeah. Never seen a rev counter do what it did. It was just, he was so good. Where was he from? Coventry. I go back to Coventry at the weekend and that. Like, I've got to get some more money in my phone. It's like £100 this month. This phone was like, for like 100 quid for the phone. What have you been doing? You'll be phoning people from your room.
Mind you,
Not pissing around, Johnny. I got £120 in a Rockports, yeah. He had some Stone Island jacket or something. 150 quid jacket, yeah? I'm not fucking about, yeah? I'm like, why don't you get a part-time job? You go, fuck that shit. I'm not doing that. Do you know what? There's been all sorts of instances. I know that usually it's the fire service that see all the weirdest stuff. You know, like some guy that's just put his penis into a tap.
Yeah. So I fell backwards onto the banister. That's what happened. I fell backwards onto.
I told you this before, but my mate Dan, who's a radiographer,
oh my
says
God,
the stuff we get in is usually on a night shift, and he works at the Bristol Royal Infirmary. So obviously they only look after people that are sort of alive in the 90s. And this guy came in, and he had a full height hairspray can wedged into his backside.
oh my God,
and he couldn't get it out.
did it still have hairspray in it?
Joey claimed this was the best thing. Dan said it's just not a surprise to me anymore. The bloke just genuinely said, I slipped over while I was showering myself.
Of course.
And it fell up there. And he just went, just so everyone's clear. A, hairspray in a shower. And B, it's nearly a 10-inch tall can. And he said, how big's your shower? Because if you've got a small square shower pan,
how did you
you're
fall?
going for a really quite a smooth...
Yeah. So you got like a walk-in, a wet room maybe. That would explain.
It could be wet room. In fact, that's a John Peel session. Wet room Jacksy.
2 more from wet room accident after this. I have a lot of questions, and I don't know whether I should ask them about that. Was the cap on the hairspray?
Yes, it was. But the problem was, I think when they removed the cap stayed.
Yeah.
So it required another medical intervention.
But better that in a way than the cap being off, and as it went up there, then it triggers the top, and the bloke's arse cavity is now just filling with hairspray. I mean, he'd be like a powder keg, wouldn't he?
Please don't.
There's so many things in the world that you could pop up your jacksie if you so chose, but a hairspray can.
But a tall one.
They're flat tops.
It's flat top. It's not like can of like whipped cream, which tends to have a domed.
You know when they're doing like home improvements and they have those jacks they put under under lintels and stuff to hold them up while they're dicking around with load bearing.
Like a bottle jack.
A bottle jack, yeah. I feel like you need one of those to get your...
Oh, I thought you were thinking that was a great alternative.
Well, I don't know, but...
You're just going to walk around like the paddock at a motorsport event and go, that would fit in my arse. Yeah, that's fantastic.
You know that nose cone off an old Benetton F1 car? That'd go nicely up the old...
Where the sun don't shine.
Where the sun don't shine. Yeah, no,
I don't. I mean, it's not what I was expecting us to talk about.
But
I was going to talk about scale working engines.
Oh, yeah. Why do they go... Did your mate find one up someone's arse?
No, but...
Is that a spinning Jenny up your bum? What's going on?
No, but it could power something like that. You know those stationary engines at agricultural shows? My brother has one. We've talked about it before.
Yeah.
They you want to always demonstrate them powering something. Well, I mean, it would be a little bit Pornhub if you went to just a traditional steam rally.
What, with like an enormous...
It's a bloke with a lister,
machine-powered dildo.
It's got a flywheel that's about 400 kilos, and it's just pistoning this all... Well, there's another bloke just spooning goose fat onto the area.
Oh my God.
Just going, it'll do this all day. It'll do this all day.
Now, Ken, we've had some complaints from the other exhibitors that your static engine's too sexy. It's... Well, it's got a massive false cock on it, and we're just... There's kiddies at the show, Ken. Come on. Yeah. There's kiddies. It's a family event. It's on a cam.
I know. I do know. I know that you whittled it with your wood lathe. But it's very realistic.
It's dirty. It's very dirty what you've done here, and we're going to have to ask you to leave if you can't. The mayoress
practically fainted when she saw it.
Oh, yeah.
You dirty bastard.
Imagine, you're turning a steam rally into a sort of smutty event.
Well, you know these sort of clubs, these little clubs, it happens a lot, I think, in car owners' clubs, sort of one-make things, where there's factions, and sometimes there's almost like a sort of bloodless coup, and a different faction will take over.
Yeah.
You know, or sort of a Porsche club will suddenly get overrun by like 944 enthusiasts, and all the 911 people get a bit huffy.
They'll get annoyed about
Which
it.
I think there really was with one of the Porsche clubs. There was some kind of massive sort of coup.
But that's sort of racist. Is that Porsche racism?
There's a bit.
Isn't
I
it?
guess. Yeah,
I mean,
but they're not very accepting of others, are they, the Porsche people? It's like,
So if I had a 914,
snobby.
if I went, I've got a 914, they go, that's just a VW engine Porsche, and you know it.
Yeah.
So therefore, you're not really with us because it's a flat 4.
Yeah, but you know, like how birds of prey, often you see them getting like attacked and chased away by crows. And it's like, fuck off, crows! Leave that majestic Kestrel or whatever alone. I reckon you turn up
surround it like MiG fighter jets,
they do,
and they peck each side. They go in, they swoop in. It's incredible to watch.
Yeah, but I think if you turned up with like a 959, thinking you'd be king of the club, actually you'd be like one of those beautiful birds of prey. Where I think the lesser Porsche owners, they'd start pecking at you, maybe literally, and you'd get chased away. But no, I was thinking that if it's very easy for these clubs because they are sort of hotbeds of politics and infighting and things. But you've got some kind of static engine club that gets overtaken or taken over by perverts, and suddenly all the static engines are being used to do slightly sexual things. And the sort of you trad Fred Dibner types are just driven away by it. I had to leave the club.
Actually, half of them are like they're intrigued. They're like, it's smutty, I'll give you that. But you know what? I watched a bit more of it the other night.
I'm a broad-minded sort of bloke, and each to their own. But some of it's very intricate. The carving work on the ends, on the bell piece, if you like, as we call it.
Bell
sometimes.
piece.
So you've enjoyed this podcast, but you've had a thought. Is there a way here today that you could show support? Well, you could join our Patreon, what wonders that it brings. Early shows and extra notes on that side of things. You could buy our merchandise, we've mugs and hats but still no ties. One day we will make those pies, but in the meantime, guys, hey guys, like and subscribe, and maybe leave a nice review. Like and subscribe, we know you know just what to do. Like and subscribe, we don't want to take the piss. Like and subscribe, but we were told to ask for this. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.
It were cool, that war. It were cool. Problem was, it were at the steam rally and it boot opened and it had a load of smutty tools in it with reciprocating saw with dick on end.
Yeah, I went to open door. He's replaced all the handles with flashlights, the mucky bastards.